Hey guys, what's up? It's Josh from Upcycled Sanctity, and we're back. It's been a long time since I posted my first video. I did not expect it to be this long in between videos, but here we are. Hopefully we got some coming out back to back I'm excited about. And today is, it's for everybody suffering from those vacation blues. Maybe you didn't make it to the ocean this year, or to your favorite crowded destination due to everything going on. So I felt a little inspired to go to the islands today, and that entails some art with a cooler, and we'll see how it goes. Today we are drinking, appropriately enough, some Land Shark. Ooh, one of my favorite summer beers. It's the poor man's Corona, and I really hope you enjoy everything. Thanks. All right, here we go. Before we get started, I hope everybody's got their favorite beverage on hand. If not, hit pause and run to the fridge. That's the last Land Shark of the 6 pack. Okay, so this cooler that we're working with, it's a little 6 pack cooler, and I think I picked this up at a rummage sale about a year ago for $2. So it was worth the chance of screwing it up because, like I said, it was only $2. I'm using a little Ryobi angle sander here, and the lunchbox, the cooler is really rough on the sides, way rougher than I anticipated, and the top is of course really smooth. So I used the power tool as much as I could, and then went to hand sanding, and yeah, whenever I was sanding this, it was making a ton of dust and getting all over the camera. So we added just a little bit of water to keep the dust down. So that's a little pro tip if you're doing any sanding inside. If you can't go outside, it'll keep the dust down. So here, unfortunately, you can see now the cooler is white, and you're thinking, Josh, I didn't get to see, how did this thing turn white? I had some videos get corrupted, so I think I've remedied that issue with some new SD cards and whatnot. But the only thing you missed was just putting 2 coats of primer, spray out of a spray can on the cooler. I really wanted to just start off by knocking out that blue that really dark blue color, because I knew that would be difficult to cover up. Um, and then I'm just following that up with some really thick gesso, it was just regular canvas gesso, but I wanted to have a relatively smooth surface, so I put a couple coats of gesso on there, and it's kind of satisfying going from one shade of white to another shade. Um, Fun fact: I wish I could have kept some of that video of spray painting, because I thought it was a good idea to do that inside, and yeah, I was in a very poorly ventilated basement, and the job took longer than I thought, and it got weird with the fumes. But anyway, okay, so now we're going to mix up some acrylic paints to put down as our base for the cooler. And the majority of the cooler will turn out, it's it's a hard yellow to describe. I mean, to me, I would just say it looks like a land shark can, is what I was going after. But it's I don't know, it's almost like a goldenrod, but a little bit different. Um, I wanted to include the just absolute frustration I had mixing this paint. It took forever. I started with a deep yellow, and also some brilliant yellow and some white. And then I do add some goldenrod in there as well. And I could not, for the life of me, get this color right. You could see on my phone I actually have like some land shark pictures and stuff. Um, should not have added that white. All I did was make it a little bit lighter. But I wanted to include this because I was getting extremely frustrated. I just wanted to throw everything out the window and walk away, because I could not get this how I wanted it. Um, and I think it's kind of important if you're starting out in art. There's all kind of different obstacles that are going to pop up, and frustrations. And and I just thought it was cool to include that. The video is actually much longer of me trying to match that color. Um, but yeah, just stick to it. The really cool part is, a few days later when I came back to it after it dried and I had to touch a few things up, I literally matched the color in 5 seconds. And I just saw it in my head and figured out what I needed to do. So that's a little, keep on keeping on, you can do it type speech. But you can see, yeah, here's now we have a mountain of paint because I realized we need a lot of paint for this cooler. I started using this big brush that I just got. It was absolute garbage. Um, it left 1,000 bristles in our paint as it was drying and made it look horrible. So I was like, gotta go to Old Faithful, go to the old kit there. Um, yeah, so I'm just putting down. I think I put 2 or 3 coats of yellow. Even though we were going over white, it just I don't know. With the rough surface on the sides, it was pretty difficult to get good coverage. You notice too, I have a little jar of water um, next to me, and that actually has a new uh, solution that I just discovered, and it's called like Ultra Glide, I think, and it's a tool that pinstripers use to make like really smooth strokes with their paint. It's not a paint thinner, so it keeps like its thickness and doesn't allow it to get lighter and see through. I think it's called Ultra Glide. So check that out. It really helped, especially on the rough surface. All right, so now I got my can in front of me and I'm using it as a reference. We sketched out the main logo, and as you can see here, I already went ahead and woo, nice peel. Um, I got my stencil that I cut out with the Cricut, and I'm just putting that on the flat surface on the top. And we're gonna hit that with some blue after we touch this up. So yeah, on this stencil, it was much easier to work with since the letters were larger than the previous project we worked on. I did put my Instagram handle on the back just for a little publicity. If I'm down at the beach, someone's like, "Cool, cool," or "Where'd you get that?" And that was kind of hard because the letters were much smaller. But we're mixing up our blue, and this went much easier than the yellow. And I was surprised actually how much black I could add to this, and still keep those like aqua tones in it. So it is a pretty dark blue, a unique kind of like royal turquoise, or I shouldn't say turquoise, aqua. Um, yeah, so we're just gonna spread this out. This took 2 coats of blue, and I used the removable vinyl because I did not want to rip up the base coat. It was still a little bit tacky, not 1,000,000% dry. It wasn't like 1998 hoodie tied around your waist tacky, but it was some of the things I see on TikTok tacky. Um, and we're just gonna do a couple coats here. While that's drying, after the second coat, I move down to the bottom and work on the main logo, the shark fin with the palm trees and everything like that. I thought about making a stencil and doing the best I could, maybe like put something into Photoshop or rip something off of Google Images, but I just figured, hey, we're here. Let's just do it by hand, take our time. Um, the side of this thing was so rough, uh, and extremely frustrating. Even with the Ultra Glide stuff, without that, you probably wouldn't even be seeing this video because it would have been way too difficult to put paint down on this thing. It looks really smooth, but it was a pretty difficult surface to work with. Even here, you can see it's just like not going down how you want it to. It's not getting down into little crevices. Maybe a stiffer brush next time. So we pull up our vinyl. This is still drying, still very wet. but I'm also still very impatient. So we get to work. Um, there was lots of bleed through, um, much more than I was expecting, even on this smooth part of the cooler. The removable vinyl did not make a really good seal. Um, so it is what it is. We just go through and take our time, touch up the parts we can with the blue, and try to make it as clean as possible. Another little pro tip is, acrylic paint is not that permanent of a paint, even when it's dry. So, especially when it's still wet, I always just keep a damp cloth, like a ripped up t shirt or something around. Because if you slip and whoops, I accidentally just destroyed everything I've been working on with a loose brush that got away from me, you just take your rag there and don't scrub it, but um, it'll pick up that fresh paint pretty quickly and not mess up your base coat. But so that's a little pro tip number two. This is very educational today. Um, yeah, here's pro tip number three. Never try to do this with a cooler. Just all the videos I've seen on YouTube, everybody just makes stencils and they spray paint it. I can concur that that would have been the much easier thing to do here, but we got to make things difficult, or we're just another YouTube channel. We're different, probably. So we're working on the shark fin here. The Ultra Glide was a lifesaver while working on that because it just made the paint a little bit easier to work with. Um, and I kind of started getting excited. I was like, yeah, it's coming together. I'm not totally ashamed of this yet. So yeah, we're just gonna thin out a little bit more blue here and use our super detailed brush for the palm trees. But if you guys have never had land shark, if you like Corona, you will like land shark. I almost feel like it doesn't need a lime, like I always want lime with Corona. And if you don't know this as well, land shark beer is affiliated with Jimmy Buffett. I don't know in what capacity, like if he helped create it or what the circumstance was. I'm sure somebody watching this knows. Let me know in the comments. But yeah, I just feel like I love the design so much. It captures perfectly like if somebody started making homebrew beer and they live next to a beach and they made their sign on like some driftwood. Um, I just love the design so much. It's simple. Ladies and gentlemen, it is finished. What do you think? I don't know if you look at it from far away and I shake it a little bit, it looks legit. So I hope you never get to see it in person because then it's not as cool. But yeah, I added a couple things that we didn't see on tape there, and yeah, I think it'll be a nice little 6-pack cooler for the backyard. So I hope everybody enjoyed this video. It was absolute hell to make this and took way too long. But I think I'm going to throw a coat of clear coat on here, but it shouldn't change anything too much just to make sure it doesn't wash off if it gets wet. So what do we got in here? I can get it open. Oh my gosh. It's a fresh, delicious land shark lager. Oh, well, I don't mind if I do. Oh. Mmm. Tastes like the ocean and paint fumes. Thank you guys for watching. Look forward to the next video. Talk to you guys soon.